Hello guys, my name is Khan, and actually in this video I will show you guys that how you can implement a macro or a module file that you have already created for some worksheet, and then you want to implement the same macro or module on a new sheet on a new sheet. So if you guys remember that we have used this file in our previous video, and in this file I have created one macro in this file. So if I go to this file, as you can see that we have module 1 file, and within this module I have created this macro, and by the help of this macro we have implemented some formatting changes into the following sheets: 2005, 2006, 2007 and 2008. So, but suppose if suppose you were working on this sheet and your colleague have sent you another sheet which have the almost the similar data, but it's an updated sheet. So if I go back to my folder where I have the data, so I have two sheets here. So suppose I'm just giving an example. So let's suppose you get this data set 1 month back. You created a macro and you implemented that macro in this sheet. Actually, this is the sheet I'm talking about. But suppose after a month your colleague have sent you an updated file, which is this file, which is in the Excel format. It don't have any macro in it, but you know that the same macro that you have implemented on this sheet can be used on the new sheet that your colleague have sent. So now if I open the new sheet that your colleague have sent, so actually this sheet is all same as the sheet which we were working before, but now you need to run your macro again and to make it into a right format, and you also want the sum of the amount paid by each respondent. So then the question will be how you can do that. So in order to do that, you first have to go to the sheet where you have constructed your module or your macro. So I will go back to my actual sheet where I have the macro I built and I want to run it on the new sheet. So I will first open it up, and once the file will open, I will go back to my developer tab, and then I will go to Visual Basic. In the Visual Basic, this is the sheet, this is the module 1 or the code file over which contains my macro. So what I will do, if you want to change its name, so suppose if you want to change the module name, you can change it right now. So suppose if I want to call it do again, so because actually this module contains the macro do again. So I can rename it. So you can see my module get renamed. And now if I want to, so the first thing that you have to do, you have to export this this module into the folder where you want. So I will be saying export file. So so you can save it anywhere you want in your directory. So I will be saving it into VBA videos range function, and then it will say save. So now everything is done from related to this file. I can close this window. I can also close this file where I have constructed my macro in the first place. So I will close it. You can save it. So now the point is that I want to implement the module or the macro that I have exported by this name, and I want to use this macro into the new Excel sheet that your colleague have sent, which don't have any macro or module in it. So I will open that file, and now I will go to my developer tab, and after going to my developer tab I will go to Visual Basic, and after Visual Basic I will go, this is my actual sheet which is running. So now what I will go to this button, I will go here, and I will click on this module. This module is actually empty, but now I want to import a new module in it. So I will select that module 1, then I will right click it, and then I will say import file. So once I will import file, it will show you the modules that you can import. Actually, in this folder I have just before that I have saved this module, so I will click that module, open it, and now you can see that within that sheet, within this repeat the same project updated file, I have 2 modules. This module is now useless, you can even delete it. Remove module 1. So no. So now I have this, go back to my file. Now I have this module, I will double click it. So now you can see that within this updated sheet, if I'm trying to, so you can see that this is the file where we started our work, which was not having any module or macro initially. So I imported this module into this file, and now I am ready to use this module into this new sheet. But be careful, especially related to this module, that you may need to make some changes in this file. Even the sheet names are the same as in the previous file, so you may need to adjust some things in suppose sheet names. But in our case everything is fine. But suppose if we have 2009 sheet name here is, so you may need to go to your vector where you're mentioning the sheet names. You have to change it to 2009, and now you can run it. So if I run it now, if I play it, hopefully I will not get any error and everything will get adjusted. The formatting will be done accordingly to this macro. So if I say play, you can see I didn't get any error, and you can see that everything the first row get into bold. I got also borders in that table, also entered the total amount paid is equal to 70 in all sheets. So in this video I have just shown you guys that how you can export your macro or module from one Excel sheet, and then how you can use the same module or macro into another Excel sheet. And now, so what I will do, I will close this window and I will open a new Excel file. You can again, one thing to note here is that I have exported a macro, imported a macro in this file, but actually initially this file was not macro enabled file. So when you will be saving this file, make sure that you save it as a macro enabled file. So I'll be saying yes, so I will save it as a macro enabled file. So the next thing will be now is that I will be opening a new Excel file, and now I will discuss very important function in VBA, which is the range function. So if I go back to my, so I am creating 2 hypothetical. So suppose in this worksheet workbook I have 3 sheets. I can even call it there. I can rename the sheet 2. So my sheet 2 will be test. So now, so suppose in VBA, if you want to select the cells, so suppose if you want to select first 3 columns and then first 6 rows, so in that case you can use a range function, and range can even allow to alter the values within the range you have selected. So suppose if I want that all this range that's appearing in this selected area, I want to be, so every cell in this range show me the value 2. So in that case you can go to develop and you can go to Visual Basic, and within Visual Basic this is the worksheet I am working on. So within the, so I will select this sheet, select this workbook, then I will go to this icon, then I will click on the module. So now we have a module, we can start writing our macro. So I will saying my macro will start from sub, and then I will be calling it as range. You can call it whatever you want, range test. And then so now I'm ready to write a macro. So suppose, as I told you guys, that I will be talking about range. But before going to range, I will also tell you guys about a very important thing in VBA that you will be using, and I will advise to use, is to comment in your while writing your macros or while working in a module file. So how you can comment is that by using the apostrophe sign. So I will sing this apostrophe, and then you can comment whatever you want. So I will be saying I am explaining the range function. So the important thing about comment is that suppose if you work on the same macro or a module after a long time, if you have done comments in your macro, then it will be easy to understand, and it will be also easy to understand for suppose if you send your macro or your Excel workbook to some of your other colleagues, and if they want to check the logic that you are doing in your macro or module, if your macro is well commented, then it will be also easy for them to understand. So again, I have told you guys that if you want to comment in your macros, you have to use apostrophe sign, and then you can write whatever you want. So after the apostrophe sign, whatever you will write, VBA will consider it as a comment and will not consider it as a function or as a command, and you will not get any error. So I'm comment these. So after that, I will go back to the range. So as I told you guys that I want to select A1 till C6. So in that case, I can use the range. So I will be saying range, then brackets, and bracket close, and within the brackets. So as you can see, when I said brackets, VBA also having some comments here that which cells you want to select in the range. So I will be saying brackets, but in the brackets you have to use inverted commas, and then you will be specifying the first cell from here to here. So the first cell will be A1 and ratio sign, and the last cell will be C6 that you want. So you want to select the whole these cells. So I'll be saying C6. So after that, if you want to assign some value to this range, so suppose if I want to assign 6, and now if I execute this macro, and if I go back, you can see that all the cells got 6 in it. And suppose if you want to assign some string values in it, then you can assign it within the inverted commas. You can say that VBA video. So if I execute now this macro, you can see everything got assigned VBA video within that range. So again, I will suppose it will be a bit easier to assign. It looks better because I want to make some more edits to that range, so it will be easier to see. So that's why I'm going to return it back to 6. So now within this the range function, you don't need to specify, or you can even select an array. By array means that suppose you can even select the whole column like this instead of selecting multiple columns. So the range even allows you to do that. So in order to do that, so I can say range. I will be copying this again, and then I'll be saying, suppose if I want to select from E1 to E8, is equal to 8. Now if I run this in this macro, let's see what it will do. So you can see that we have 8 now here. And suppose if you have already made some changes within the range, so suppose if I want to change this specific cell, so how I can do this? So there are two ways. One is to use the cells command that I have already used several times in my previous videos. So if you can do that from that too, so you will be saying cells, you will be saying the row index first. The row index will be 3, and then comma, and then if the column index will be 2, or you can simply write B, then brackets close. Now so I have to assign some values. So suppose if you want to say C, so now if I execute this macro, you can see that I have C written down here. But you can also use for one cell, you can also use cell. If you can use range command, so you can say range, so brackets, and then within the brackets you will be specifying the cell. Here the important thing that the way you will specify the cell is, so suppose if I want to change this 6 to C2, then you will be saying C4 here. So I'll be saying C4, and then I'll be assigning it to some value which will be saying C2. So now if I execute this macro, you can see that range function can allow you to make an edit in a rectangular range, or even in an array kind of range, and also specific to cells. You can use the range function to make changes. And again, again I will show you guys one more thing. So currently I have opened this file, and I'm running this macro, and VBA have decided that the sheet which is active in the background will be used to make edits according to this macro. But suppose you want to select some other sheet. Suppose if even this sheet is active, but you want to tell VBA that go to sheet 3 and then make changes. Then there is a very important command which is the WorkSheets. So you have to mention WorkSheets, and then brackets, then bracket close, and within those brackets you will be mentioning you can mention the sheet by 2 ways: by mentioning the sheet name which is written here in inverted commas, or you can also mention the sheet in terms of order. So this sheet is 1, 2 and 3. If you say 3 here, the VBA will automatically know that I am talking about the third sheet. But you can also specify it by the sheet name which is written down here. So you can say sheet 3 and then dot select. If I go back to my sheet, and now if I go back into sheet 3, you can see that there is nothing in sheet 3. But if I run my if I run my macro, you can see that there will be changes in sheet 3 now. So as you can see, the sheet 3 got changed now. So suppose if I delete all these things in my test sheet, if I execute it now, there will be no changes. There is changes in sheet 3, but there is no change in test sheet. So in this way you can change, you can select the sheet in which you want to make the changes. Again, I will show in the end. Suppose you want to change, you also want to run this macro on sheet 1. So the other way that you can simply write 1, because the sheet 1 is the first in order. So this sheet will be considered as, this sheet index will be considered as 1, 2 and 3. So I want to make changes in sheet 1. So you can also, instead of writing the sheet name, you can use the sheet index to select the sheet for your macro to work on. So now if I execute it, now you can see that my macro have made changes in sheet 1. So, and again, one more thing that I think it will be better to specify here too, that even in your macros, You can also create, there is a function which is the message box. So whenever you run a macro, the macro will pop up a message box for the user, and you can specify whatever you want in this message box. That message box will allow the user that what this macro is doing or for what things they have to be careful. So for that you can use this function which VBA provide, message msg for message, and then you'll be writing box, and then after that within the inverted commas you can specify whatever you want. So suppose if you want to make a note, saying a note to users, be careful about the sheet you are working on and select the sheet accordingly. So this is the message that I want to give to my user, because when you because once you end up making your macro, then probably some other user will be using your Excel sheet. They may don't come into your macro directly. They may be using a button to run it. So if for those kind of user, you have to use such kind of things to make them careful. So now if I execute this, as you can see, now I have this pop-up window in Excel which is showing the note that I have made. Not be careful about the sheet you are working and select the sheet accordingly. So you can just simply close it after reading it. So this is all about today's video. Thank you for watching the video.